How's it going, guys? My name is Ty, and I have Gabby here with me, and we are Weddings Made Perfect podcast. No, seriously, guys. Weddings Made Perfect podcast. If you want to email us, just email us at weddingsmadeperfectpodcast@gmail.com. That's weddingsmadeperfect@gmail.com. We're here. Episode 12. We are going to be talking about a getting ready episode of like the morning of with a special guest, Larry Katz from Endy Events. He's a lead photographer there. And we're also technically sponsored by Endy Events. So thank you so much, Brian Endy. But yeah, anyways, guys, this episode, we're going to be talking about the whole getting ready and stuff like that. I know literally like the last episode, well, 2 episodes ago, we talked about timelines and stuff. So it's kind of talking about that. But this time we're actually going to have a person that does it, a photographer. We're going to talk about the photography side of it. So if you are wanting to know about video, we'll have another person, a special guest for that, or maybe Gabby will just ask me. So we haven't decided yet, but we probably will have one relatively soon on the video side. But right now, we're going to just focus on what a lead photographer or just a photographer look for of the morning of / getting ready of the day. So yeah, also we have a little thing that might be happening soon with us coming up potentially in May. I don't want to give too much details out because I want to make sure it's completely confirmed, even though it sounds like it is, but you never know what could happen. But in a couple episodes, I'll definitely spill the beans if it actually is 100% a green light. But there might be a chance that we're going to be moving. So, which is really cool for us because we get a new location, new decor, new everything. So I'll give you guys more information on that if it actually does happen. But definitely, we are very excited about it. We weren't expecting this type of stuff already. So it's really cool seeing already improvements for us. When that happens, we'll definitely have more cameras and just definitely more things for the video side, because obviously the video part of our podcast has been definitely more, I guess, profitable, not like money wise, but just more just popular viewer wise. Apparently you guys love watching me. So I get it.
I don't believe that.
But anyways, guys, we once again, thank you so much for all the support. You could follow us on Facebook or Instagram, or you can find us on YouTube. All you have to do is type in Weddings Made Perfect Podcast and we'll pop up. We would love for you to like our videos. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications for the next coming up podcast. Right now, it's kind of been like Friday or Saturday that we've been uploading. We did take a week off because we were doing some constructions on our hosting website, which is anchor.fm. I had to fix a little bit of things because we are trying to improve a little bit more and we want to do a little bit of sponsoring ships and stuff like that. So I had to wait for a couple of things to kind of go through before I was able to post another website or another episode. And then also on YouTube, I wanted to change a couple of things out before posting anything. So we kind of took a little week break, but this coming up Friday, which honestly you'll hear this about 3 weeks from now, that we're going to be posting again. So just want to let you guys know. So if you guys were like, what the heck? And now there's like all these episodes coming in. Now you know why. But anyways, I'm done talking. We have a sponsor for this episode.
Of course we do. Weddings Made Perfect podcast is sponsored by Endy Events, LLC. Endy Events is a St. Louis-based events company that specializes in photography, videography, DJ, and photo booth services, as well as officiant and event planning and coordination services. You can find Endy Events at endyevents.com. That's ENDY events.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Instagram at Endy Events. And I also have a tip for you today, Tyler. Today's tip is to drink plenty of water the day before and the morning of.
So beer doesn't count?
No, that's not water.
I mean, isn't there technically water inside?
Yes, but there's also technically water inside of every kind of liquor. So
just water?
No, don't drink the liquor.
Okay, no, bye-bye.
Basically, it's very important to drink water the day before because you never know how much time you're going to have to sit down and, drink a full bottle of water the day of. Not to mention, it's really good for, obviously, your body and your mind, but also in the side of vanity, it's really good for your skin too. If you drink a ton of water the night before, you're going to be really kind of glowy and hydrated and refreshed. And obviously, you want to look as good as you can for that next morning, the day of your wedding, of course. So
grab your Voss, grab your Fiji, and let's roll. Is that too bougie for
I
you?
guess.
Do you know what I just said there? Do you not drink Voss water or Fiji?
Do I look like I drink Voss water or Fiji water? Do you drink Voss water or Fiji water?
Yes for you and yes for me.
I look like I drink.
Yes, you look like you.
I don't know.
Some...
Okay, I don't know if that's a compliment or a shot, but I guess I'll take it regardless.
Take it how you want to take it. It's just if I had to compare you to a water, I see Fiji.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you don't see smart water?
I don't see. Well, I don't see like Pure Life or Aquafina.
I don't know how to feel about that, but I mean, Fiji, I guess, is like it's like an up there brand. It's like a mid tier brand.
I mean, maybe Ice Mountain. Why are we talking about water?
I don't know. I think I see you as a Dasani though.
Dasani.
Yeah.
Do you know how much
It's
PHC or whatever the crap it's called in there? The pH level?
You're a little acidic.
It's super high.
You're a little acidic, man.
Man. Tastes like
it's like some days you're like, yeah, this Dasani sounds really good, and then other days you're like,
no.
nah, I don't think I want that.
That's
how
like,
I feel about
it's like
you.
drinking bleach water. Like it's so.
Honestly, I do not like Dasani water.
Oh God, it's terrible. What were you thinking? Coca-Cola products? Like why? Like I know this is a wedding thing, but like. Let's talk about water for a second. Dasani, what are you doing? You're sponsored by Coca-Cola.
What is legit? Like, if you go to the gas station, what water are you getting? You're on a road trip, okay? You've got like hours to go. You need a water. What water?
Well, it depends. Because if I'm leaving the Midwest, I'm grabbing Ice Mountain. Because Ice Mountain is the only, there's actually a Midwest company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you can't get it like in Florida. So I would grab, because my favorite has to be Ice Mountain. Because it's just really good. Also, the pH level, or whatever you want to call that, is that there is like none. So it's one of the fewer, like, actually still has mineral inside of it, all that stuff. And it's actually better for you for one of those type of filtered waters. So I am grabbing an Ice Mountain. Okay. But if I'm like out or like at an airport, I have to grab a Fiji. So like I would
really,
yeah. So I would go to one of the Starbies, even though I hate their coffee. I go to Starbucks.
You don't like Starbucks coffee?
Oh, I hate Starbucks coffee. See what I mean?
You're such a snob.
Fiji Voss. They burnt their roast. Okay, I used to be
delicious.
a barista.
I love Starbucks coffee. What coffee's better? I know you like Caldi's.
Trash. What are you talking? Just in general, like coffee?
Yeah. Like if you're going to get a coffee, where are you going? How do we get on this topic?
I know we went to water to coffee. So I have to say, well, I mean, like they're all local. So what's that called? Park Avenue, I believe. I think it's what it's called for the roastery. Probably Blueprint.
I haven't gotten to go yet because the one time I wanted to go, they were closed.
I probably
That's on my list.
I'd probably go Blueprint. I guess Caldi's, but I mean, like, no, probably not. I used to work at Picasso, so if you are in the St. Louis like in the area, I did actually work for Picasso's, but they used to get their beans somewhere else when I was working there, but now they actually roast their own. So, I mean, any like actual place that does a roastery properly.
Have you had the Wolf's Cafe right here? Coffee?
That little North Street one that I got coffee for you that one time. Like, I go there. I never really done the Wolf one.
It's before. Good. They got good coffee next door.
So, but I mean, like honestly, anywhere besides Starbucks, they burn their roast. That's why they always imply to do flavorings and stuff because they roast it too long. So the only thing they'll actually get there from Starbucks is a cold brew. Because they actually do the cold brews properly.
I've been obsessed with their vanilla sweet cream cold brew, but I think it's really just sugar and milk. But it's really good. It's so addictive.
Their recent one that they just because like definitely in Florida I was drinking them quite often. They came out with a honey almond milk
Oh,
cold brew.
that sounds delicious.
It was really good. All I know is that
And
was
way healthier than a vanilla sweet cream.
Oh, yeah,
because
that
I'm
was
sure there
good.
were 500 calories in that drink I had.
Yeah, I was just like, it was good because the first time I tried it, I was like, oh, this is super sweet, and then I found out that for some reason, every single time you order something, they put like their own sweetener in it, which I'm just like, once again, reason why it's like you have to sweeten the coffee just to taste it.
Yeah.
I'm just weird like that. I like my coffee black, like my soul. I
And
like
your
it black.
wardrobe, as we were
I
discussing
am
earlier.
wearing blue.
Ladies and gentlemen, is this a color? It's not.
It is a color.
I don't think
I'm
it
going
is.
to actually make it look bluer.
I'm pretty sure that's it's like a faded black that's got like someone accidentally dripped some blue paint.
You know I edit this, right? So I could edit this even bluer, or I could change different colors. So like I could just snap my fingers and be like, this is purple.
At this point, 12 episodes in, people know that you pretty much gravitate towards black. So I don't think I have to prove my point here. Anyways, should we rein it back in?
I guess so. So what are we talking
Larry.
about? I don't know. Poor Larry. So we have a special guest. His name is Larry Katz. He does work with Endy Events. He is a lead photographer. He's going to be talking about the getting ready and all that good stuff about the morning of. He does say that this is his favorite part. We just got done doing the episode, so I'm very excited to show you guys this really cool bit of him just talking. He's a very cool guy. He has 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine that.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm barely pushing my decade now, and I'm just like, that's insane for me to like actually hear. But yeah, he's been through it all. He's been through the trenches, just diving in, just doing the things. Gone from film to digital. He's seen that whole world aspect. You hear us talk about that. So if you are a photographer that just love hearing different things, this is definitely going to be a cool episode. If you are actually a bride or a groom that's listening to as well, it's going to be great to hear some cool suggestions because he comes up with some really cool ideas for the morning of, and also just anything about the morning in general of what you should kind of look for and stuff. So like I said, this is Ty and Gabby, and this is the episode 12 of special guest with Larry Katz from Endy Events. So
Let's get into it.
let's get into it. First off, thank you so much for coming. We're very excited to have you on. But once again, this is Larry Katz. He's with Endy Events, and we're going to be talking about basically the getting ready portion of the day. So kind of like the morning of, and like the getting ready on the bride side, and a little bit on the groom side, but they're dudes, so they don't really need much to like really worry about anything.
It's the brides that really matter.
It's honestly it's the brides in the mornings that really matters. But anyways, first off, how long have you been doing photography, and like what got you into it?
Well, I don't want to tell you how long because that shows how old I am. But no, I've been doing it for like 30 plus years.
Oh, man.
Photography.
Awesome.
Yeah, I started out in commercial product photography. Actually, before that, in high school, I was doing photography for the yearbook. And then I went to school for commercial photography. And I started out in the professional world as a product photographer. For probably a good 10 years. And that industry changed. And then I moved into wedding photography.
Did it just kind of happen, or is there like a little story behind it? Or
You know, when I moved back to St. Louis, you had to be able to shoot a little bit of everything. So
I feel that.
it was very hard to specialize.
yeah,
So it involved headshots for corporations. It involved real estate. It involved wedding photography.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it's
So
St. Louis is very universal. It's including with like, cause I mean, I started off as a photographer back in
Yeah.
high school. I did the whole newspaper yearbook thing. I kind of got into that whole thing, shot for sports, and then when they converted me over to doing actual video, like. Once I got into the professional world in St. Louis, you needed to know everything because
Exactly.
there was nothing that you were able to specialize in. Like you're able to do like just weddings or whatever, but the problem is like St. Louis is so just broad with things where
Yeah.
especially for at least for my field for video, it's a lot of broadcasting. So I'm sorry, I'm not a broadcaster. I love creative work. I love that stuff. So sadly, like St. Louis is not the best place, but at the same time though, I make do with it. So yeah, I feel you with that, with the whole
Right.
like having to figure out everything and just kind of dabbling into things. But
And you know what's interesting is that coming from commercial product photography, I'm very used to still lifes and working by myself or with a few people. And I have found that I really love weddings because it's really all about family. And I don't know, it's just a blast to do them.
Yeah. Do you like the like one shot to get it, or does that make you nervous, or are you like not nervous anymore?
I don't think about that so
Yeah.
much because I know my equipment, I know what's expected.
Yeah. I could see it being
think about
like
that anymore.
exciting to be like this is it. Like we have to capture these moments, and then when you do, you're like, man, like I got it. That was
Well,
it.
I've had a few brides say, okay, I'm done. Because I want to go on forever and ever and ever. And I want to continue to shoot. I want to continue to shoot. And that's the one thing I have to watch is that I sometimes will tire them out.
Oh man.
But
especially the guys, there's moments where you just kind of see their faces. We're like, yeah, we're going one more shot, and they're just like, or not. We won't do
I
Oh.
anymore.
can see your cheeks like just burning after like 3 hours of like, cheese.
but I love to joke around when it, and it works for wedding photography. I'm not that serious of a guy when it comes to working.
Yeah.
But that really does work. Yeah.
So what, like, when you're doing weddings, is there something that you do differently each time to that? So like it won't kind of feel like you're in this routine. Like, is there, like, what do you?
Question.
What's something that you kind of do? Because I know, like, especially with me, I know I'm younger and I know I don't have 30 plus years, but at least at this point I have a decade under my belt of doing things.
Sure.
So it's to the point where like I love it regardless, but I know that there's moments where, especially like 2017 when I did 56 weddings, it kind of got into a moment where I'm just like, okay, I'm about to burn out. Like, what was like? How do you stop that type of?
Well, you do have to watch out for burnout. I mean, even for the still guys, the guys who shoot stills. I take on each project like it's its own thing. I scout out locations. I still do that.
Yeah.
20 years later, I still do that.
You have to.
Because I want the best locations for them. I don't want to go into something too blind. Otherwise, I waste too much time looking around.
Oh yeah, sure.
So I always scout out locations. I may even, after talking to the bride and the groom on the phone or Zoom or meeting them, I get a sense of what their personalities are like. And so I'll create a folder of photos I think that would match them.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, like a lookbook?
Yeah. So that's something I do for each wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
The other thing I try to do from wedding to wedding to wedding is to challenge myself
Yeah.
for the next wedding.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to think of a new pose or a new scenario or a new lighting scenario that I can do the next time. Or I look at the wedding I just shot and it looks good, except this one scenario didn't quite work for me. So so I'll think about how to improve it.
Yeah, tweaks.
For the next wedding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm always trying to challenge myself.
I think that's really
I think
important.
otherwise you really
Especially
do.
in this field. I mean, it's changing every single day. And then you've got Pinterest out there making everything look like $1 million. And you're like, I'm trying to keep up, man. How do I keep up?
Right. I love Pinterest. I really do.
I think you'll be the minority for photographers.
Probably so, but it's going to be some great ideas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, you're only one person. So, like, somebody comes up with a good idea. Why can't I use it?
Exactly.
It's a lot of piggybacking that's happening, especially for like video. Like, there's moments where I watch a video, or I even go on Pinterest, even stills. I could apply that, going, okay, so this this pose or this candid pose, I could create this as a movement by them, like moving into that pose. So, for example, like a forehead thing.
Yeah.
It's super cool doing a nice punch in of them like putting their foreheads together and then punching out and then having them kiss.
Yeah.
Like, there's moments where like I could come creative with that. So
you kind of take inspiration and then make it your
Exactly.
own.
You have to.
Exactly.
Or literally all your videos or photos will look exactly the same every single week.
And nobody,
Exactly. Right. So And to be honest, a lot of brides do look at Pinterest, and they've got their own Pinterest board.
Oh, sure.
And I know it's important to them at times, and I say, please pass it along. And I try to do my best to get one or two of those.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Then you know that at least they're getting one they like.
Right.
You're probably confident they'll have other ones, but you're like, this one's a solid.
Yeah, I mean, I've got some really good ideas out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect.
So I have to ask, because I always like to pick people's brains who's been in this industry for so long. Film versus digital. What do you? What is your whole aspect behind it? I know it's weddings, but I have to ask. Like, are you happy we went digital?
Oh, totally digital. Totally.
Like,
totally. It saves time.
No more red rooms or dark rooms. And
Right. Exactly.
no more like. I just want to know, because like
no more hoping and praying that you got the right exposure. You can't beat it. I mean, I probably overshoot because digital, it's just a throwaway image.
Oh, yeah.
If you
Delete.
don't like it.
You just click delete. Yeah.
But
was it? Let me put it this way: I'm assuming you shot a wedding before with just like a film camera.
yes.
So like, what was that experience like compared to like yesterday type of situation? Like when you had to pose them, like how were you more like, what was your thought process through that, as opposed to like, now I could like, okay, I click without having to worry about this is $1.75 or whatever
Well,
it was.
Depending on the section of the day, if it was the reception, you just go with it. It's candids. You just go with it, shoot as much as you can. With the portraits of the bride and groom, you couldn't do as much candid stuff. You had to be really particular about the poses.
Yeah.
You had to be a little bit more strict about it. Less candid stuff.
Yeah.
And
with like movement kind of
mess
it up.
You tell them the groom to put his hands here on the bride, and so it was a little bit more stilted. It was still pretty stuff.
Yeah.
But you couldn't get those special moments.
Yeah.
As much as I'd like to.
You can't be too risky.
That you can with digital.
Absolutely.
So no sparkler exits back at the back at 80s and 90s, sadly.
Exactly.
That's why they only use rice, because you can kind of see it like with your naked eye with the. I have no idea why.
and digital nowadays has gotten to be so good.
Yeah.
I just purchased one of the newer Canon cameras, and I don't necessarily shoot high ISO. I mix, flash when needed, But now with the newer cameras, oh my God, you could just throw away your flash.
I've been saying that since there's moments where there's a lot of things that I see photographers are happening. I guess I could say more of the old school ones. Yeah. I don't really see it much of like people my age. I'm of course 27,
right.
But it's definitely, I see it more like with an older crowd of photographers that are still doing kind of like an old style of shooting, and I'm just like, dude, you could buy a camera that could do that already, and you could, all it is post work, and so it's just like,
it's
one of those.
I'm getting excited by the younger people who are how they're shooting, and I could do natural light photography, sure, but
I have to say though, to appreciate my art, I ended up getting a Super 8, and I actually did it with film. But then I also edited the way how you like the old school way of like the whole cutting and pasting and trimming, the actual way of doing it. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I could get this done in like 30 minutes in Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like now I understand like where like the words came from for the whole copy, trim, cut, all of that. Like I understand now why it's still called that now, which is interesting now. Like everything that went in digital, we still use film terminology for the same tools, but it's just digital now.
Yeah.
So you still get the whole thing, but I wanted to do that to appreciate it, to be like, because I grew up with the whole, like everything was digital at the point where now I'm just like, I didn't get to have that exposure of that. So I just wanted to learn it. That's why I could have that background. I'm like, I did it.
Yeah.
Well, I can really appreciate the old school because it gave me some of the basics of I could tell you if this scene over here, the exposure of it, just by looking at it.
Yeah.
And that's I contribute that to my learning of the
That's amazing,
learning
for
way
sure.
Back when, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like it
And
was almost like a form of art back then. Not that it's
Oh, yeah.
not these days, but
Yeah,
it's so easy
yeah.
to make. I feel like a picture look good with all the editing you can do, but to really just capture it in the moment is so impressive.
Right, and to know the basics, those basics.
Yeah.
Makes the day go smoother.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I tell you, I thank God I'm not stagnant, because I still want to learn new stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I still want to learn how to light right and
Yeah.
to
Well, I think you're in the right field.
pose
So
properly,
always be
and,
learning.
you know, and just actually get out of the box a bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what's like the first thing you do when you arrive at a venue? Do you arrive early? How
I
early?
arrive anywhere from a half hour to an hour ahead of time,
Okay.
because I'm going to scout out the whole location.
Sure.
The reception area, the ceremony section, and any of those other spots that are great for bride and groom portraits, taking the wedding party.
Perfect.
So do you do that like the day of, or do you actually like do that like the day before?
Well, it depends on how close the location is. I will go a couple days before.
Yeah.
I've been downtown to hotels to scout them out the week before.
Awesome.
Any location that I haven't been to, I'll try to get to beforehand.
Okay.
Then I always look online, and there's always ways to find photos of wedding parties that have been shot at locations. Just Google it. It's very
Yeah,
easy.
absolutely.
Very easy.
Yeah, well, I laughed because, so I have a client that's on the floor right now, which they try to get me to come again because I've been traveling constantly. And they're just like wanting to buy something for one of the cameras. And they're just like, what would be the best for this external drive for this camera? And like my mind, I'm like, just Google it. And literally I just Googled it and I found the top picks. I was like, here you go. And I'm just like, why are people like, we live in a world that like Google is really
Yeah.
in your
Right,
pockets,
right.
which is funny because all my middle school and high school teachers are like, you're never going to walk around with a calculator or
Google in your pocket.
Google in your pocket. You need to learn this. And I'm just like, no, I really, I guarantee you it's going to happen. Sure enough, it does. So it's like, I don't know. It's always funny when somebody says that because I'm just like, just do that. Like, it's simple. 2 seconds and you're done.
Well, you know, with the getting ready section, we're always happy. Photographers are always happy when it's a really cool location. Like I just shot at Haw Valley, out in Pacific, and they just rebuilt their getting ready cabin.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and it had great light, great backgrounds, great walls, or sometimes you'll shoot in the basement of a church.
Yeah.
Which you got to make do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So actually, I'm gonna hit that. So because I try to tell training people for like videos and stuff with those type of scenarios. What do you do to tackle the whole basement church thing when you're stuck having to do that? Like how you do that to make it creative or looking where it's not like in a dungy yellow room?
Right. Well, depending on the shot, if it's the whole wedding party, let's say all the girls, I'll try to maybe make the background dark or light it in a way that is interesting. I really watch out for coat hangers and distractions in the background. If it's just the bride, that's easy enough to take a small section of the wall and use that as a background.
yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to, that's a photographer's job, is to be mindful of what's behind,
Yeah, absolutely.
what's in the background.
So as they're
Yeah.
getting ready and they're kind of getting their hair, makeup done, do you have them kind of sit in a spot that you know will be photographed well, or do you just kind of go with the flow with what they've got going on?
Both.
Yeah.
Both. You know, it's I've got to be respectful of the hair and makeup people. So if they're usually there before I get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if they're in a place that is not great lighting wise or even photography wise, I still have to go with it.
Yeah.
And do the best I can. Sometimes we will also use whatever lighting that they brought. They usually bring in some beautiful lighting, just like what you have here.
Okay.
And we'll use that.
Yeah, they bring like ring lights.
ring
Oh,
lights.
sweet.
Or if it's like a hotel, for some reason which is good for us, but they'll like migrate to like the windows to get that
Right.
natural light.
Perfect. I'm sure that helps for them.
Yeah,
to
it
be
helps,
able
but
to
then at the
see.
same time, they're in this corner and they're always like facing towards the window. So you're trying to like get into this small spot.
Yeah.
This is of course
Right.
this is pre-COVID, so you're just like literally like
Hello.
shoulder to shoulder with the hair and makeup.
Exactly.
Like I'm just gonna get this shot real fast, and so it's kind of interesting.
And like I said earlier, to tell you the truth, I let them do their thing, hair and makeup, and then at the very end of hair and makeup, I will ask to do a posed photo of the makeup person putting on lip gloss.
Gotcha.
That's the pose shot, which
Yeah,
usually
absolutely.
I'm looking for everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
And that's usually the one that ends up in the album.
What kind of communication do you have back and forth with like the hairdresser and the makeup people? Like anything you're asking or telling or
If I feel like I didn't quite get the shot, I'm asking them to fake it.
yeah,
Fake a shot,
yeah.
whether it's lip gloss or whether it's so that I can get that perfect shot.
Yeah.
One perfect shot of them putting on lip gloss or another portion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, can be some of the most beautiful photos. And I love it when a bride realizes that some really good photos can come out of this session.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's the shots that it's her and the girls,
Yeah.
the other bridesmaids. She realizes that those can be some of the sweetest looking photos.
Yeah. With their friends and
Yeah,
family. And,
yeah. Yeah, and I got some samples that I sent you too.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
take a look at
And
that.
do you have like mom wait outside and then come in so she can kind of get that wow factor or any family members or
I do that with the father of the bride.
Yeah.
That's the shot that
Okay.
we tried to get. The first look with Dad.
Yeah.
That's after she's got her makeup on, or she's dressed, and then we bring Dad in, and those are the best.
Yeah,
candid
I bet
moments,
they
too.
are.
Those are really great
Oh.
candid moments, and I got one of those too.
Oh,
for you
perfect.
to look at.
Perfect. So what do you do when a bride is not super comfortable with having her pictures taken while she's getting ready and all that
That's
stuff?
where my great personality comes in. You've got to have fun. I've got to have fun.
Yeah.
So that usually has them laughing and has them relaxed.
Relaxed, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's got to be, especially that first moment where you come in and they're like, "Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Like I'm realizing now that this whole day I'm going to be the center of attention. Like I don't like that. I don't know how to smile, what to do with my hands. Like you got to like that's got to be the most nervous part of the
And
day."
I want a variety of looks from the bride. I want her to be smiling big or not at all. Maybe
Yeah.
more of a serious, alluring
Yeah.
kind of a look. So I'll tell her what I need.
Yeah.
I need. Yeah. So I don't force anything.
Yeah.
I do try to stay as positive as possible
Yeah.
throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Yeah.
And it's a great distraction. So that's when I get the most relaxed photos is when I've distracted her and we're talking about everything and anything, about work, about the groom. Is he
Yeah.
excited? Is he nervous? Did you guys party last night? Where do you live?
Yeah.
Are you going on a honeymoon? So anything to distract her
Yeah.
is really
Kind of open her up.
Yeah.
What about do you ever have to kind of get
I even tell jokes about myself.
Yeah.
I even tell on myself sometimes.
Do you ever have to get a little like kind of aggressive if there's like a ton of people in the room and things are getting kind of crazy?
Yes. I do ask to have, let's say, the maid of honor be my point person, my contact person, to help wrangle everybody up.
Absolutely.
I need somebody who can be big and bold and
Sure. Yeah.
help me with
and not
that.
afraid to be like, "Hey, get out of
Right.
here."
I'll do it if it's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, you have to.
I'd rather have somebody else do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what kinds of shots do you get of the dress while the bride is getting ready? Like what kinds of ideas
Well,
do you
actually,
come
I'll
up with?
start with the detail shots
Okay.
when I first get there. I'll get
Oh,
to
sorry.
that.
I'm so sorry. I'm just rolling with questions right now.
I'll start with the detail shots.
Okay.
And so I'll ask, usually the maid of honor, to gather up the shoes, the jewelry, the flowers, the invitation, both rings. If the bride brought her favorite perfume bottle, that's part of some shot. And then I look for good lighting, and then I look for good backgrounds. I want the veil to be a possible background. The flowers are backgrounds. And then after I've done those shots, I'll look for a great background for the dress to be hung.
Yeah.
And I love it when the bride brings one of the hangers that says bride on it.
Yeah.
Or Mrs.
Yeah.
So-and-so. That's really sweet.
Yeah.
If they didn't bring it, I have several extra.
Oh, really?
Several really, really cute hangers.
Oh,
that I
good
bring with
idea.
me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciate that too when they're just like, oh my gosh, like the one thing I forgot. And you're like, oh, don't worry, I've got one.
Yeah, those little touches make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. And then I try to, if there are little kids in the room who, let's say, are in the wedding party, I like to incorporate them with the dress too, hanging up.
Yeah.
There's nothing sweeter than a little girl who's already in her own dress.
Yeah.
You know, looking up at the
big
bride's
yeah.
dress. Nothing sweeter than that.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are favorites on the socials.
The other
I
thing
would
you
say.
got to do as a photographer is keep your eyes and ears open for people that come in and out of the room, because it might be mom of the groom, or it might be an aunt and some of the expressions are the best. You just have to watch for those.
Yeah.
Watch for those moments.
Just to catch them.
Just to catch
Yeah,
them.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Those are some of the best candid moments. Both moms, if they're there, they're very important too. And I always ask them, hey guys, mom of the bride, mom of the groom, throughout the whole evening, if you want anything special, you just let me know. And I think they really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because moms like to take charge,
Yeah.
which is fine.
That's an understatement.
Which I am A-okay with.
Yeah.
A-okay with. So,
That's nice.
you know. Although I did have one mom tell me to get out of the way during the cake cutting because they wanted to take the photos. So,
How about that?
you live with it. You live with it.
Did you just not budge?
I probably looked back, stunned, and then I did move a little bit.
Yeah?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Just to give her enough room to get in there and take
Sure.
the photo.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. No, I never had anybody be angry with me.
Okay,
so.
that's good.
Yeah, no.
That's good.
I definitely had multiple people.
I'm
Probably
shocked.
pissed some people
Angry.
off.
I am shocked.
Well, also, I mean, like, in a way, I'm just like, you hired me. So I
Right.
need to, like, get this shot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm a little more, like, outspoken with that. Because it's
For
like,
sure.
Because it's like, okay, if you wanted the photos done on your own, why did you hire me?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, it's kind of.
You're thinking that. You never
You
said
just-
that.
I'm just like,
Oh my
I'm like,
goodness.
you guys hired me. Like, I don't do it like in an asshole way. I don't go like,
Right.
like, F off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do this and that. Like, I don't do it like that. It's just like, well, I do it very passively. I'm just like, well, you didn't hire me, so I just want to make sure I get the best quality photo or video for you. Next, mine's, just the customer service,
Yeah.
boys. And they're
And
just
they know
like,
you're
and they're just like,
sane.
oh, that makes sense. And they kind of like back off. But like, I try,
It teaches you how to be diplomatic. It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
And to hold your temper and to.
Yeah.
very
You
patient.
don't want to
Really
start World War
patience.
III at
Yeah, it
a
really does
wedding.
teach you to be
Yeah.
diplomatic. So I took that home and I'd be diplomatic with my wife. Maybe silent, kind of, sort of.
Sure, she appreciates that.
So there's two photographers sometimes. So you may want to ask me about that. Why are there two photographers? What's the benefits of two photographers? So the benefit of two photographers is me as the lead photographer, I can concentrate on the bride. Especially during maybe the ceremony where I can get the photos of them coming down the aisle. The second photographer can get the expression of the groom.
Yeah.
And the brides want that photo especially. So there's a great time to have two photographers. Also during the getting ready photos, the second photographer will go and photograph the guys getting
Yeah.
ready. So, if this timing is done right, one photographer can do it. But it's always a pleasure when there's two photographers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would always argue for two photographers.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they ever ask.
Yeah.
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 So what are some examples of some different shots you might do with the bride?
Okay, good. Of course, we'll probably start out with mom, usually tying up the dress.
Okay. So like buttoning her up.
Buttoning her up, right. It's usually either mom or maybe the maid of honor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's always, we always try to do that in natural light. That's usually the first thing we shoot. And then we'll move to her putting on her earrings. That's usually the second thing we do. Then and then maybe a bracelet.
Yeah.
And then the third thing we'll do is a couple girls helping her putting on her shoes.
Okay.
And possibly garter. And I've got samples of those. You can pop those up
Perfect.
if you wanted to. And then we usually have, and I don't know why, but we usually have mom put the veil on the bride.
Okay.
It's usually mom. And those are really some sweet photos.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
You know, you get them two looking back at each other.
Yeah.
And it's just really sweet.
Yeah.
And then the other great one is the first look of Dad.
Yeah.
Dad's out in the hallway waiting for his cue to come in. And I love to see a few tears shed by Dad.
I was going to say,
That's...
So if bride starts crying, do you kind of go for it anyways because those are sweet tears?
I don't say a word.
Yeah.
I just let it happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of,
Just let it happen.
especially like, I mean, with us doing many of these, like you just kind of feel the room of like certain moments that you just don't break.
Yeah.
Especially there's a lot of like very just raw moments that you try to stay away from, I guess, breaking that fourth wall of like, you just kind of have their moment where it's literally like for them, the time slow down and you're just kind of capturing it without them really realizing it. And you're not like too
invading their privacy. Yeah,
so you're just
capturing
like,
it.
capturing
Yeah.
it. That's why for at least those type of real moments, especially like first look, even with the groom or even first look of the father, I try to mic them up because I like to try to get the audio of like their first reaction, especially like a lot of them, if they're pretty vocal, like a vocal person, they'll say like, wow, or like a lot of them will start crying. You hear the choking and the thing, oh my God, you look so beautiful, or like just something like that. Or I try to imply that because especially with how I do videos, how it's like more of a narrative storytelling, I like to put those real moments inside the actual video for flowiness. So it's just like you could tell with the stills, even with their just reaction and just how they look. It's just one of those moments where you just don't try to break.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of you just let it happen.
As a photographer,
but you can't miss it.
Anybody in the room, you've got to be sensitive to what's happening.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But you can't miss it though, because the thing is like after when they kind of like realize like what's all happening, they'll be like, "Oh, did you guys get this?" And you're just like, "No," or most of the time, yes. But
it's not one of those photos where you can ask them to do it over again.
No, definitely not.
Especially with like first looks, you just don't ask.
Well, you just turn around and look again. It's like,
and that's a good time also to have a second photographer in there. This last wedding, I asked the second photographer to come back for that first look of Dad.
Yeah.
Because I wanted two different angles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a moment I feel like a lot of dads wait for and a lot of brides wait for.
Yes.
It's like just
there's
special.
just moments where you just can't redo, and like.
And I tell you, when I'm talking to the bride on the phone before the wedding day, they forget about those kind of photos. They don't even know to do those kind of photos.
Right.
And I think they really appreciate it when I suggest it.
Oh, absolutely.
That's one photo that they go, oh, yes, let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the champagne popping photo. They don't always think about that. Where the girls are having a moment and cracking open a bottle of champagne.
Yeah.
Some of the best expressions come from them.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I've gotten hit by a cork one time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really?
Where?
Huh?
Where did it hit you?
Well, it like hit me in the face.
In the face?
Like, because I was just like, I want a really cool like action shot, so like I had her like go my direction.
Oh,
and, like,
that was smart.
Face. I was just like, it was a cool shot though.
I bet it was.
I didn't care. I wanted the cool moment. I was shooting in 120 frames, so like it was just like spraying at me.
Oh my gosh,
I wanted that
crazy.
really cool moment, but
it's usually those two photos, the champagne and the first look with Dad, are two extra photos that they usually don't think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
makes sense. So I have to ask, What are your top places that you like to shoot in St. Louis area?
Good question.
Like, do you have like a top 5 or like can
Well,
you
when
narrow
it
down
comes
to
to
like?
when it comes to getting ready photos, any location that is sensitive to the girls getting ready, I'll shoot anywhere. But I loved Haw Valley because that place built a getting ready room that's like no other.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful.
Yeah.
Homes are nice, can be real nice because you have choices of rooms.
Yeah.
What are some of my favorite places?
It's weird. I have like my immediate top
What are
5.
what is
I have to say, like, Silver Rock Chateau is a really good place that I love. It's out in like the Eureka Pacific area.
Okay.
It's kind of one of those spots where you do everything all together. You could have the aesthetic of like a 4-seat, but at the same time, though, they have an elegant, some like modern contemporary look inside.
Is that a winery? Or is it?
They might be able to. I mean, they do have like winery stuff downstairs, but I don't think it's an actual like wine yard.
Okay, got it.
But Silver Oak Chateau probably has to be mine. Kind of inner city. I love Windows in Washington because I mean just the aesthetic inside, which also kind of Windows in Washington and here are literally the same to me. Just there's really no difference. One just has a roof access and one does not. Bissinger's, but then I heard that they just put down the sign.
Oh.
So you can't shoot on the rooftop anymore. Well, I mean, you probably can shoot on the rooftop now, but I heard just recently that they, because I'm really good friends with some coordinators at Bissinger's, they text me saying that they took down the signs. And I was just like, what? That's the best part. Because you could literally take them onto the rooftop and the huge Bissinger sign, you could get a cool shot of that. Gone now. Can't do it anymore. So I was like, I don't know. That kind of broke down my little event there.
Now you're down to 4.
Knocked out of your
I'm down
top
to
5.
I will. I'm thrilled if it's a winery, pretty much any winery, because they've got good backgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, you've got either the winery, the grapes, or you've got they're just set up for really beautiful backgrounds.
Yeah.
Chandler Vineyard.
Chandler Hill.
Chandler Hill.
That's a good one I like. That's probably one out of the Augusta area. That's kind of what I prefer.
What is that one building on Washington that's next to? It's got 2 staircases. Just beautiful.
Oh,
Bennett's on Washington. That is the most beautiful location for bride and groom portraits. Yeah, the inside is just gorgeous.
anywhere is perfect. I was just
anywhere
saying,
is good. Anywhere is good.
These are just places that we just know.
that
that
is our goal of professionals. That is our responsibility. Is to.
There's some moments though that we like.
Have you ever shot at Mason Duloc?
No.
Well, you're going to in October.
Okay. Okay.
You're on one of my best friend's weddings, so I'll see you there.
Very good. I will be out. How far is it?
It's a minute. I think it's like an hour from here.
Well, on locations like that when it's really far out, I'm there like an hour and a half before the wedding starts.
There's gonna be llamas, so there's gonna be plenty to.
This is great.
Photograph.
This is great.
I just did a wedding, December or January, just recently. That had a llamas, and I'm just like, oh yeah.
It's gotta be Mason Duloc.
I don't know. Is it like out there?
Yeah. It looks. Hold on. It's a giant Navy building.
Okay.
No, I have it right here.
Any of the barn locations?
Is
are
it
great.
near like a little like lake/pond?
Yes.
Do
There's one right behind
Do
it.
they have like a little barn thing for the ceremony part?
I don't know. I've never been out.
Let me put
This
this
is what
way:
it looks
is there like a big deck on the side?
This is what it looks like.
I was just
there?
I was gonna say
I was literally.
there cannot be many.
I literally was so.
that have
It must be.
llamas.
It must be a legitimate place that they only do llamas. I was literally
Yeah,
there.
there's the llamas.
Oh my god!
Isn't it gorgeous though?
So no, it's okay. Hold on. So I was talking about this with
This is what you're talking about here.
with the other videographer that I was shooting it with. I had problems with that place. Not bad problems, but
God.
I had the the cabins area, like so like the bridal suite and then the groom suites are very like rustic, like farm look. But then when you go into the actual inside for the reception, it's like this very modern,
Yeah,
like to contemporary, like
elegant.
elegant look that you would see like it's downtown. So you're getting two different aesthetics together. So for me, I'm just like sitting here, I'm like, okay, how are we going to cohesively put this together?
That makes sense.
And so like it was kind of one of those moments where like it's not an issue, but it was like that moment of like you have two completely different, like even where the ceremony was at. The ceremony was in that like little. It's like off on the side on the hill. There's like that little like barn looking thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's where they had their ceremony at. And so once again, it had like a barn feel. So you were like, barn house looking thing, a little cabin house off the pond for the grooms. The ceremony was like in this little like barn little thing. But then you go into this very modern, elegant like
I'm sure-
reception.
I'm sure you get that all the time though, with like people that do their ceremony and reception in different places.
Oh, yeah.
So
It was just
it was just confusing for you to be at the
then,
same venue and for it to look so
It's
different.
a
Yeah.
little shocking.
And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden I walked out to take a little break, and then all of a sudden I see llamas. And I'm just like, llamas! I'm just
I
like,
can't
yo,
wait.
buddy.
I cannot
Take a
wait.
little
It's
snapshot
gonna
of
be
it.
so good.
Like,
Another great location is Faust Park, or where the butterfly house is.
Oh yeah.
Because they've really set it up perfect for wedding parties.
Really?
You start at one end and you've got barns, and then you go to old wooden houses, and then you go to great wooded areas, and then the butterfly house. So it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
get like it looks like you've gone to 4 different places, but
Exactly.
you're really in the same
Exactly.
place.
Yeah.
That's always
Little-
nice.
little mini Epcot.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything different that you do with grooms for the getting ready shots than
Oh,
you do with
good.
brides?
Good. Well, like I said earlier, it's a bit of a scaled back. We prefer that they are almost dressed for the most part by the time we get there. And we will then fake a few shots of the best man helping
Yeah.
put on his jacket, the groom fiddling with his tie, his watch. There's one shot I love to do, which I really don't see that many photographers do, is I'll get the best man and the groom, and they'll take both rings, and they'll both hold one of the rings, bring it way out to the camera. That's in focus.
Oh,
and they're out
cool.
of focus, overlapping it. And that's a cool shot. I really
Cool.
like that. What else?
Do you have like mom come in to see groom all dressed?
I won't do a first look with mom, but she is part of the picture.
Yeah.
Mom is definitely there, and she's adjusting his tie, or maybe dad is doing that.
Yeah.
And that's a good time to get family portraits too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Trying to think of what else. Most of our, I did a wedding recently at one of the hotels downtown, and they were all into a board game of some sort. So they brought their board game.
Do you know what game it was?
And I don't remember. It was a good year ago or so.
Yeah.
And
I'm really into board games.
I know.
So I could probably tell you what
some
it was.
nerdy thing of some sort.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
My recent board game that I picked up is Villainous.
I haven't heard of that one.
It is freaking amazing.
Yeah.
It is so fun. I'll give you more information on that, but it is.
I'm beyond obsessed with Catan forever.
Okay.
That's my favorite. But anyways,
And some of the guys are really into Star Wars, so I've had a few interesting props
oh, I'm sure.
for.
I'm
for
sure you've
photos.
seen many lightsabers in
Yes.
your
Oh
time.
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Trying to think of what else. Most of the really fun, good photos are done if we have enough time to take them outside
Yeah.
and just do crazy stuff. with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing when I go
Yeah.
through all the pictures and and all the boys are smoking a cigar or
Right.
just messing around or that always makes me
The
laugh.
old classic jumping shot, or I've got a great one where they all think it's kind of crazy until I actually get them to do it. The groom will be crouching down, looking at the camera, holding still, and all the guys run at the groom. And I tell them not to hurt the groom.
They don't listen.
But the end result, they're going, what are you doing here? The end result is really
Oh, I
cool.
bet.
It's all the guys are blurry.
Yeah.
like in action.
Yeah.
And the groom is looking at the camera, kind of serious, like.
That's kind of cool.
It's
Yeah,
really
that's a
cool
shot that I actually will do for video. Is I will shoot in 120 frames, so I'll super slow mo. But I'll do is I grab the groom and be like, "Hey, stand here," and I grab the guys, walk them like several feet back. I'm like, "All right, guys." So all I'm gonna say is, "All right, go." Very nonchalantly, when I say go, charge as fast as you can. I want you to do is once you get to him, like pick him up or do something. Like don't like hurt him,
Yeah.
but like do something
Don't
fun.
rip his suit.
And so like at the time when I walk up and I'm just messing around, I'm like, all right, guys, get into like a flying V or like something to throw him off. And then I just go, all right, and go. All of a sudden, you just hear this rumbling going, rah! And then just like pick them up. And like, of course, the groom is like freaking out. But like, I'm capturing that moment because then what I'll do is it'd be like in fast motion, and I slow it down to like them right before they contact him and pick him up and stuff. So it's really like I said, it's those moments where it's like you could get that in photo, but then also you can apply it in video, and it still looks cool.
That's neat.
And it is important for the photographer to work with the videographer. I've never had a bad experience with a videographer. We've always been.
Have you worked with Tyler?
No, I haven't actually. So,
Oh, okay.
You will learn a lot, and I'm probably sure I'll learn a lot.
sometimes I say, please do the next shot because I need a little break and to think of the next shot that I want to do.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel
Absolutely.
like I'm annoying because I'm one of those people that I will like lead in. Well, like what I'll do is like I always imply things. Well, first, there's two things that I try to avoid. I try to avoid as much flash as possible. I understand flash is needed. So what I'll do is I'll wait for the photographer to get the stills because I always say this. I go, your shot's more important than mine. The reason why I say that is because you have one photo or one still to get as opposed to me. I could literally edit something out if needed, meaning like I could start or end the clip how I want to end it. So I try to limit the amount of flash that happens. And then also for me, I need movement as opposed to still. So like if they're doing like a forehead, I'd be like, get this shot real fast. And then when you're done, all I ask for you is give me like 2 seconds for them to just put their heads together.
Yeah.
And I realize that the bride and groom are putting money out for videography, and it's important to them.
Yeah.
So I have to be sensitive to that. And
Absolutely.
give the videographer some room to work.
It must be nice too to get two different people with creative minds, so that like when you say, "Hey, do this spin or whatever," and you're like, "Oh God, that's great! Like, let me catch that."
That's what it.
We feed off of each
yeah,
other.
So
exactly.
Ed, which is another person from Endy Events, Ed is just like that. He loves working with me because I will do something. He'd be like, "Huh, that's a good idea." He goes, "Why don't you guys do that again for me?" And like start taking photos of it. And I'm just like, there's a lot of moments where he's just like, "That's a really good idea." I was like, "Yeah." Exactly. I'm like, but I apply, of course, way more movement because it's just that's how I do it. But at the same time, though, it's great. So I'm not like you though. There's been moments where some photographers have been really into my shots. I'm just like, "What are you doing?" It was a bad experience. So this was like 5 years ago. It was these two girls. I'm sure that they had their own like little business, but she was shooting with flip flops on, with some like cut up jeans, like a nicer
wedding?
a nicer tank top. I don't know if it was like a friend or not, but all I know is she was wearing flip flops, some cut up like blue jeans, and then like a nicer tank top ish / blouse. I have no idea what it was, honestly. All I know was she couldn't have been no more than like a couple of years older or younger than me. And I don't know what happened to her or reasoning, but I was just like, hey, like I need to get this shot for the speeches. It's very important. They want to get the full speech. Like I'm gonna be standing here the whole time. I'm not gonna move. So like, and I was shooting on a 70-200, and so I'm punched in pretty tight. I don't know what got her, but like I'm here. She literally went stood right in front of me.
Wow.
And just was whatever. So like I would try to move, she would move with me. So I don't know, like I didn't do anything wrong, but I've had moments like that where like I've had some spiteful photographers,
really
and I'm just like, yo, like we're literally hired to do the same thing.
I was gonna say
like,
your pettiness is not like these people paid for this.
Exactly.
You can take it elsewhere.
Nothing worse than a prima donna photographer or.
Well, luckily we had another person like
Yeah.
the other videographer saw it happening, so he was like immediately like switched his angle to get the speaker. But then like we showed the bride. We're just like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I'm not trying to be like, oh, whatever, but like, this is what happened.
Yeah.
Here's video proof showing that she was doing this. So if you didn't get what you wanted, talk to her.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm just letting you know, like, I tried it. I tried my best. Nothing was wrong. I don't know why she was being petty, but this is what happens.
Crazy.
I've had a lot of
We're
those
working for
conversations.
the bride and groom, and
Yeah.
most of the time for the mothers.
Yeah.
You know, often they're paying for the
Oh,
footing the bill.
absolutely. Yeah.
So you better work together.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's one of those things.
Gabby.
So thank you so much, Larry, for
Sure.
coming in. Once again, Larry is a lead photographer for Endy Events. You could definitely go online. I think they're Brian Endy, who's the owner of Endy Events. He's completely constructing the website, and there's going to be a team tab, and so you could
Meet the team
meet the team type of
the team
situation. You
tab.
could read a little like about
under
Larry.
photographers.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, can they like request?
His photo is up, so you can see.
His photo is up, so he looks like this. But if you need more about it,
you can
Take
request
a look
Larry.
at our work.
so you
Yep,
can
absolutely.
actually request him to shoot your day, which sounds like he's a very fun guy, very swell. So definitely check him out. 30 plus years, right? 30 plus years of experience
Crazy.
and clicking the shutter release and all that good stuff. So definitely book with him if you want to.
Well, I will say that, and I've written this out. I'm sorry, dude.
No, you're good.
That if I can get a bride to say "aww," then I've done my job.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you
Then
go.
I've done my job.
So the next wedding, make sure you get on that side where you could go to your photos.
Yeah.
But once again, guys, this is Weddings Made Perfect podcast. If you want to contact us, it's Weddings Made Perfect podcast at gmail.com, or you can comment on our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube page. We're
Don't
always
forget
there.
to send us your koozies. Send us
Oh
some
yes,
wedding
our
koozies.
koozie bucket. Yes, we'll
We
talk
need your
more about
koozies,
that. Yes,
please.
And definitely, if you have any questions or something like that, just get a hold of us. You can comment on our YouTube or just whatever. And like I said, we're Weddings Made Perfect, and we're signing out.